There is very little more frustrating than being on the receiving end of a bad brief. It can both add super amounts of time to a job and a lot of frustration. So that's the topic that I want to look at in this week's video. Hey, welcome to Loud. My name is Richard Mulholland. I'm the founder and chief evangelist of presentation powerhouse Missing Link. Now, in the quarter of a century that I've owned Missing Link, we have been privileged to work on some incredible presentations that hopefully change the lives of the speakers delivering them and the audiences receiving them. But this didn't always come easy. In fact, many times it only happened on the tail end of a questionable brief given by our customers. And that's why in this week's video, I want to answer the question, how can I make my clients give a better brief? Because that is something we should all want to do. We should all want our clients to give us better briefs. If we can get that right, the job will happen even better. So how do we do it? Well, I got bad news for you. You can't. You cannot make your customers give you better briefs. And you know why? Because it isn't their job in the first place. Here's something you need to understand. You need to get into your head right now and into the head of every single person in your team. Briefs are always taken, not given. You take the brief. They don't give it. Think about it. Think about it in terms of, like, say, medicine. If you went to a doctor and you had a headache and you walked into the doctor and you said, hey, I got a headache. And then the doctor said, oh, here, just take 2 Panado. And you walked away, you would feel kind of unsatisfied. And the doctor could say, well, hold on a second. You didn't give me a very good brief. And I would say, bro, that's your job. You know the right questions to ask. And that's why a doctor always follows a very simple formula. And this is the formula that we advise everybody should take in any kind of sales meeting. It's just 4 steps. It goes like this. Ask, listen, diagnose, and prescribe. First, you ask them some questions, then you listen to their answers, then you diagnose what you think is wrong, and then you prescribe what you think it is they need. It's super easy. Now, in order to make this happen, and in order for this to be effective, I think that we need to not be working blind. One of my biggest frustrations is when I see people just taking a brief, but just asking random questions, hoping to get all the information. No. Once you figure out the information you need, you should have those questions on demand. For example, if I'm taking a brief as, say, even like from a talk, or if I'm taking it from a Missing Link point of view, I would just click on this in Roam, my note taker, and boom, it will populate a whole bunch of questions that I have to answer in my brief. And these are very, very important for me. I need to know that I can answer these in order for me to be able to deliver this information onwards into my organization. And depending on who I'm sharing this information with, they should have questions of their own that they would want to ask. You know, maybe about the CI and the brand and things like this that they would need. They can ask of me, and if I didn't ask before, then I have to ask of the clients as well. So what I want to share with you today, and in fact, there's spoilers in some of these questions before, I want to share with you the 3 most important questions that I think you should ask in every brief you take from this day forth. From this day forth. So here we go. Question number 1. Why now? If you can create some degree of urgency when you're taking a brief, or if you can even understand what the urgency is, you're in a great position. And with that question, why now, often will give you a lot more information than you expect. So, why is now the right time to be doing this? Why is now the right time to be having this conversation? We actually refer to that as a dragon hunter question, which I'll probably do a whole video on at some stage in the future. If you want to check that out, definitely hit like or subscribe and stick around for that. Ring the bell or whatever that means. But yes, I would love to have you. But by asking this question, why now? They will explain to you what the urgency is for them. This is very valuable information, especially if you happen to be selling while taking the brief, which often happens at the same time. This kind of leads nicely into question number 2, which is simply, what is at stake? What's at stake if we fail? If you don't manage to do correctly what you're setting out to do now, what's at stake? What will happen if you do it wrong? And importantly, what do you gain? What's at stake if you win? If this is an absolute success, what do we achieve then? By creating those boundaries, the kind of high and low grounds of what's at stake if we lose, what's at stake if we win, you've now created a massive frame of expectation that will really, really help you when it comes to quoting. Because remember, you're quoting on the difference between this and this. So all of a sudden, your budget will not seem as significant. Now, some of these you may already be asking. I found very few people, though, ask the 3rd question. And it's funny because I think it's the most powerful one that we could ask. And I want to say that I don't think this is important just to ask in a brief. I think this is important to have this question in every meeting template that you ever go into. And that is this. What is the most interesting thing that I learned? what is the most interesting thing that I learned in this meeting? So throughout a meeting, I have a place where I have my notes and I will be going through and I'll be making notes, and every now and then they'll say something and be like, huh, I did not know that. And because I see myself as a knowledge hunter, not a knowledge gatherer, right? And again, this goes back to that briefs are taken, not given. And knowledge gatherers take briefs or get given briefs. Knowledge hunters take them. I'm constantly prying and prodding and trying to get information out of them. And I want to know, what is the most interesting thing that I learned? Sometimes, by the way, that might not be to do with the job. It might be a fact about the customer. It might be something to do with their hobbies. But all of these are very, very valuable insights. And one of my little my little side rules is when I engage with them the next time, I try lead off my engagement, my email, whatever it is, with the thing that is the most interesting that I learned from the previous one. So that's it. Super easy. If you want more information in any of these, I kind of go into a bit more detail on processes like this and running better sales meetings in my book, Here Be Dragons, which you can definitely get and find out information about that dragon hunter question if you don't want to wait for the video. If you pop over to getrich.af/dragon, you'll be able to find the information, the book, the audiobook, everything like that. Or if you want us to help with you, you can go to Missing Link, ineedmissinglink.com, and you will find our story seller page where we can help you create your entire sales narrative for you and with you. So if that's something of interest, definitely check that out. However, until next time, if there's only one thing that you take away from this video, it is to always remember this from now on and to share this idea with everybody on your team. And that is this: briefs are always taken, not given. That's it from me. Go out there, take some briefs, and lead loud.